He's been writing on lots of issues. If you Google Prakash Nanda's name, you'll see how a globe-trotting man he is. Travels also all over the world, makes lectures in different universities and different communities, and has been a very, very prolific writer. I invite Prakash Nanda to.
I was writing my editorial on that General V.K. Singh's AIDS controversy, which I think I've written in this Geopolitics, this latest issue. So I said that let's not talk on that. So Professor Mahanti's first reaction is that what is so special about it? Why is this AIDS controversy? Is it that serious a matter? And I think the important thing to begin today is to take that very vital point. Is it really an important matter? After all, so many AIDS controversies are there affecting so many people, so many government servants, and of course in Indian Army is a part of Indian government, and Chief of Staff, like any other government servant, he is also a government servant, and there are such cases that one comes across. And what is so special about it? I think it is special because here in the history of independent India, there is a serving army chief who has gone to the highest court of the country seeking justice against whom? Or rather, from whom? From the government of India, of which he is a part. A serving chief of army complaining against, in effect, the defense minister, in effect, the prime minister, in effect, the president of India, who incidentally happens to be the chief commander of Indian Armed Forces. He was not satisfied about his grievances that were lingering on over the last, should I say 2006, that means last 6 years. It's not a very new case. So the matter came to the Supreme Court. You all know what the court has said. I think towards the 10th, I think after 3 days, again the matter will come to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had given some time to the government to reconsider its stance. So far there have been no indications. Now, the point is, why is it important when the chief of Indian Army, which incidentally happens to be the second largest army of the world after China, complains and that broadly reflects this entire spectrum of civilian and military relationship. And when I am talking of this civilian and military relationship, we in India should be extremely proud of the fact that we have got an army, or our military is controlled by the civilian, a civilian region. That means that is how it should happen in any democracy. For instance, you take this case. I'm not going very, unless you ask, we can discuss about that later. The details of General V.K. Singh's case, to put it in brief, the case is like this. So they gave, because his matriculation certificate said it is 1951. After all, his father was an armed forces officer, and if you go by our army rules, when you become a father, immediately that records are entered into your official file. There also it is May 10, 1951. Then most important thing is that he was born in a military hospital in Pune, and the hospital record also says May 1951. Then you go for the best. Why you go for this necessarily the senior most? Because this itself requires 1 hour of talking how this particular principle is creating more problems than solutions. because this encourages people not to take any decision, even if you are a corps commander, because you think that they will not be taking any initiative. Suppose you take an initiative, you are blacklisted, then there are some problems. If you do not go by this principle, then the government gets the total prerogative of ultimately choosing who will become. Then the best way is to remain silent, and you just bid for your time. And after the chief retires, if that time you know that I am the senior most or I am going to be the senior most, then चुपचाप अपने बैठ जाइए, no controversy, nothing, करिए, wait for your time, then automatically you become the army chief. It's not your competence, it is rather your age that matters. And this General V.K. Singh's case is one such latest example. I think I will stop here.